Hey guys, and welcome back to the main channel. This is a new series. We're gonna do a cooking series. I know you guys are probably like, wow, this guy's not posted on his YouTube channel for like a couple months. Yep, my main channel, the one I created a couple years back, is dead, and I'm trying to revive it. As you guys probably know, those of you who are like more, I guess, up to date with what I'm doing on my content, I'm doing a lot of Twitch, a lot of YouTube streaming, and my second channel, Artixifire, I'll link it in the bio, both Twitch and YouTube, has been growing, and that's what I've been growing for the past couple months. But I want to change up my content. I want to create something more fresh, something that allows both me and you guys to enjoy, something different. And it's going to be based off one of my hobbies, and it's going to be posted only on my main channel. I might shout it out occasionally in my streams and all that, but my gaming channel is going to be completely different, just focused on gaming. This one, my main account, is going to be based off something more fun, something more based like in person. And so the challenge I got for you guys is a cooking challenge, and it's going to become a series, a weekly series. Maybe every Sunday or Saturday is going to come out. I'll let you guys know specifically in the video description when you guys can expect. There is my schedule on Twitch if you want to go to my about page, or also probably link it into my description of this video so it's easier for you guys to access. But yeah, so as you guys know, I have a wheel, and I use this to become more like interactive on my streams, whether it's creating challenges for different types of games I'm playing. But yeah, so we're gonna use the wheel for our challenge. We're gonna have, there's exactly 14 different slots, which means 14 different countries, 14 different cuisines. Some of them which I may be more familiar with because I've probably lived there or I've tried before. Some of them where I've probably never tried, maybe like once or twice. So I'm like gonna find it really tough on some weeks. But my goal is to create something that's fun. It also allows me to learn, and hopefully you guys to learn as well, and I guess have a little more cultural exposure, because that's always nice, especially in such a globalized world. So how the thing is gonna work, we're gonna spin the wheel twice. First, it's gonna give us our country. So there's 14 different countries. I've already selected them from a list of, I think, top cuisines in the world. And then if you ever probably like, if let's say we roll one, we're probably gonna end up switching it up. And how do I switch it up? I might leave it into the YouTube comments to see which one's most popular. It might be my Twitch. So yeah, you guys will never know. I want to keep it a surprise, suspenseful and all that. So you guys will probably find out at the start of each video which one got replaced. Secondly, we're going to spin it a second time, and that's based off the budget of the video. So this is not only, I guess, a new cuisine, potentially, it's also could be potentially a really constrained budget. And so the budget is going to be in Canadian dollars, from $2 to $50. So $2 is going to be really tough. I'm allowed access to my pantry. I'll give you guys a tour. And we're essentially running this the way a restaurant would calculate it, like the exact ingredient ratio to make, like, I guess, profit, or how much to really charge for a meal. So essentially that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep it like that throughout the whole entire video to make it as fair and I guess as, not easy is not the word, but like as accurate as possible, put it that way. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to jump into the first spin. Hopefully you guys enjoy the video. We're going to keep this weekly. Make sure you guys let me know in the description what you guys want me to tweak. If you guys have any suggestions on how I can improve the series, I will gladly hear them. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Alright guys, so I've just devised the list. I've given each country a respective number, and we're going to essentially show you guys what each number is. I'll probably put it on the screen. Actually, you know what? Let's put it right here first. We're going to put each number and which country it represents, so you guys can see, so you guys can keep track of everything. This is the list we're going to use for now. And then I also put, I guess, the budget. So here's the budget of what each number means, and we'll spin it twice so it's not the same number for both things. All right, good to go? All right, let's get you guys set up right here. I know this is a little janky to set up, but for now, I have not found something better, and it's gonna have to do for our first video. I promise you I will get a way to film this next time. But for now, this is what we're gonna, okay, give me a second, I'm struggling here. All right, does that work? Yep, so you guys can see this red thing is the middle of the board. So if I do spin, this is just a test spin. You guys can probably see where it ends. Yeah, so that would have been 14. All right, are we ready to spin? Let's give it a spin. This is for what cuisine we're using. Oh, number 2 is turkey. We're gonna be using turkey as our theme of this video. How exactly do I feel about that? Personally, I've had, I think, Turkish food like once or twice in my life. But I think it's gonna be rather tough. I think the budget is gonna be quite important. I hope that for cuisines I'm not quite used to, I'm allowed a bigger budget, so I guess I can, like, try out different things if things don't work. But that's what we're gonna go with. And yeah, let's now spin for our specific budget and see how we do. Hopefully it's a big budget. I've been crossing my fingers. I'm gonna be happy with $20 is a decent amount. Like maybe $20 or $25, so I can like give myself some room for error if I do mess up and like I need to retry different things. I think that will be a fair amount for a first timer. Alrighty, you guys ready? We're gonna give it a spin. Be right back. Alright, we're back. As you guys know, You guys know what each number's amount equals. If you guys don't, I'll just put it quickly on the side right here. Right here is what each number is equivalent to the budget. All right, you guys can see it now. All right, now we're gonna go back to the wheel. Middle dial's right here. Can you guys see it? Yep, you guys can just see the top. We're gonna spin it. Let's see what budget we get. I'm hoping for around 20. If we get around 20, 25 is good. 11, what's 11? Oh God, $15. We got $15, boys. Boys and girls, we got $15. It's gonna be really tough. I'm gonna, I guess, start planning on what type of dish I wanna make. Something probably, I guess, I don't want to say something simple, but we might go a little bigger and potentially risk it with the low budget so we don't really have room to try again on like, you know, I guess a spare, like, let's say a spare protein to like try it out. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You know, we're gonna go, I think we're gonna go just go full, we're gonna go full out. You know, it's our first video, we're gonna go full out. Hopefully we're able to create something quite decent, and yeah, I'll keep you guys updated with the ingredients and what I got when I'm back. All right, catch you guys later. Hey guys, this is me from the future. I am literally just editing the video right now and I realized most of the clip is out of focus. I swear I thought I put it on autofocus. I guess I was still on manual. And yeah, I can just only apologize. I wanted to make this short clip just to, you know, give my own apology and all that. And I promise you guys this won't happen again. This was the first episode. It's a couple like things I need to change up, work on, fix. And I promise you the next ones will be better. Alright? Lots of love for everybody out there. Peace out. Hey guys, just got back from the shopping. And we got everything we need right here and in the fridge as well. I'm gonna give you guys a tour of a little bit of what we have to work with. And what I'm gonna be doing essentially in this first portion of the video is exactly calculating the exact value of every single ingredient and the amount of produce that we're using. We're gonna have a scale so we can actually weigh out everything precisely to make it as accurate as possible. A little bit, I guess, on more based off the rules of this series. We're allowed to use different sauces or stuff like that I have in my fridge doors, whether it's like, I don't know, ketchup or something like that. Like, I don't think I'll ever use ketchup in a cooking video, but like, you know what I mean, like Tabasco, sambal, mustard and stuff like that. If I ever need it, I can use it as long as it's, you know, a type of condiment or sauce. I also have a bunch of different types of sauces and I guess, what are these called? Seasonings, dressings, stuff like that. Yep, you guys know what I mean. And yeah, so this is the kitchen we're gonna be working with. Stove, oven, we might use some both. We have some stuff just drying in that corner, so ignore it. Sous vide machine right in the back. We might eventually use that one day if it's, let's say, a bigger budget. But yeah, so this is the main workbench, and I'm gonna show you guys quickly my spice rack so you guys get to see exactly what we have to work with. So we have a different types of, I guess, chili sort of spices. We have turmeric, paprika, cayenne, Cajun, salt, pepper, the classics, basil, and Cajun at the back again, and onion powder, and I guess ground cumin. We also have an alcohol cart sort of thing. If we ever want to use like alcohol in our cooking, whether it's flambéed or something like that, we might, you know, mess around if we have quite a big budget. But yeah, so that's the rules. And now I'm gonna go through every single ingredient, precisely calculating the exact value of each ingredient. I'm probably gonna time lapse this part so you guys can actually see. It's gonna be, I guess, pretty fun if you watch it in time lapse. Not so fun if I'm doing it in person, but oh well. We gotta do this to make it as accurate as possible and make this series as fair as possible. You know what? I'll see you guys in a bit. Hey guys, so today we're gonna be making lamb kofte with a Haydari sauce, which is sort of like a dipping sauce, which is made out mainly of yogurt. And we're gonna put like mint through it, lemon juice, garlic, and all that. It's gonna be a great, I guess, more refreshing touch to the dish, which I think will complement well with the lamb meatballs. And then we're also gonna be doing our own homemade style flatbreads. And in order to make this, I guess, as easy to do as possible, I'm going to be trying to make one without yeast. So the rising process, instead of waiting around 3 hours, we can maybe just cut it down to 10 minutes. So before I start, I'm just going to give you guys a quick insight on what I had to buy. A lot of these things I had at home. For instance, lemon juice I have at home, but in like a bottle thing. So I was like, that's not exactly great. If I have enough room in my budget, I want to get proper like fresh lemons, which we managed to get. And you're probably thinking to yourself, there's no way you managed to save within like $15 if you're buying so many like, you know, lemons at a time. Well, for me, I'm taking the real valuation of the product. For instance, if I was to just buy a single lemon, the value for money would be way more than if I was to buy a pack of 12 for like a little bit more. For example, the single lemons I think cost about $1.50 each, whilst this pack of around 10-11 lemons cost me about $6. So it's already less than $1.20 each for the lemons in here, right? So this is how we're essentially working. Most of the time I'm gonna have to buy a little more in bulk in order to really cut down in the cost. Secondly, the protein I chose, we could have made these Kofte meatballs in the form of beef, but I was trying to think what would, I guess, represent like turkey the most. And I was just thinking to myself, like when I was like ordering, looking through Uber Eats, looking through different recipes, a lot of the times they use lamb. And it was really difficult to find actual ground lamb fresh from a butcher, so they told me you have to go look in the frozen section. So the frozen section allowed us to get this actual quite premium, what is it, grass-fed and all that, like non-GMO, so it's actually like real premium lamb, but it's gonna be quite expensive. This itself cost me around, I think, $12.99. So we're gonna have to use a portion of this and cut down on everything else in order to reach the budget. Luckily enough for the flatbread, most of the ingredients I already have. At the top over here, which is like flour, baking soda and all that, and all, you know, all the typical like bread related stuff. And we also have a lot of different spices, luckily, which we do have quite like maybe more Turkish portfolio, whether it's like, we had dill, we had like cumin and all that, so we're pretty set, essentially, when it comes to spices and all that. So what I'm firstly gonna do is do the maths quickly. I'm gonna probably time-lapse this section and see exactly how much I'm allowed to use of each different product. All right, time-lapse, I'll be right back. Alright guys, so we just finished all the calculations. We finished at 14.97 of stuff we bought. And to show you guys quickly, it's about like 3 tablespoons of yogurt. It's kind of far for you guys to see, but it's about 3 tablespoons of yogurt. Both parsleys and mint is probably about what, like 5, 6, 7 stems each. 2 lemons, and we managed to actually work around the whole entire lamb. This was essentially the main issue. This cost me like $13. So that's literally $2 of $2 to spend on the like rest of the produce, which was kind of annoying because we have to cut down on a lot of different things, but luckily all the spice and stuff like that are kind of free. So, and now we're gonna get into the preparation phase. I think we're gonna do the flatbread first because that needs about 10 minutes to rise. So we'll get on to doing that first. We'll actually no, you know what? Do we do the sauce? It's already out. You know what? Let's do the yogurt mix first because it's already out. May as well just do it and let it rest in the fridge so it can really develop that flavor a little better. We'll be right back. Alright, spoon washed, we're gonna grab some garlic, about 1 teaspoon of garlic. Right into there. Remember, we have about, I think, 90 or 95 grams of yogurt, so 1 teaspoon is probably enough. If not a little even too much, you can probably lower it down a little bit. Give that a quick stir, so you know everything is mixed up well. We're gonna add a little bit of salt, about 1 teaspoon worth, so it's probably about 3 twists. Let's say 4, will be nice, we'll be generous. And we're gonna use half a lemon worth of juice. So this is quite open. This is honestly per taste, right? You don't want your yogurt to be too watery, but if you like something more dense, use just maybe a quarter lemon or something. Or even if your lemon juice your lemons don't produce that much juice, you can probably even use a whole lemon. So I'm putting my hand underneath while just leaving a little bit of gap between my fingers so that the lemon juice goes all the way through, but the seeds don't. Nice and easy trick. If you have a lemon juicer, then you know, even better. But again, it's more cleaning and more time consuming than this. Here. So we still actually have a lot of our herbs. You can almost, I think there was about what, 30 to 40 cents worth of herbs. You can even cut that down to a half or even a third if you really wanted to. Because to be fair, we don't actually use as much as I actually bought. I'm buying amounts to, you know, make it somewhat safe. You don't have to buy like precisely like, let's say 4 cents worth of like herbs. It's not like, you know, you always want to put a little bit more. Either way, it gives you guys room to work with if I overshoot the numbers, which is essentially better than undershooting the numbers. As you guys can see, show you guys quickly the dip. Very nice, refreshing. I'm gonna leave that in the fridge for a little bit so that it just stays cool. And we can move on to the next step. The first part, you're gonna put all-purpose flour. So you need about 260 grams of all-purpose flour. Now, this is all I had left. Luckily, I didn't have to buy it and count it towards my budget. But now we're gonna just have to pray that I have about 260 grams. If I don't, I'm gonna have to cut the recipe down in half. Which is always an option, you know. If you follow a recipe, you don't have to have specific ingredients, then you just cut it down to the ratio that works for you. So we're gonna quickly aim for about, how much is it, 260 grams? We got about I might just half it. How much? This makes 6 flatbreads. I think we only need really 3. So we're gonna we're gonna do 130 instead. It says that as I pass 130 and now it's 135. Oh well. It's 1.5 teaspoon of baking powder. So essentially we need 3/4 of a teaspoon. How much sea salt? 1 teaspoon of fine sea salt. And that's right here. We're gonna quickly mix all the dry ingredients together, make sure it's all thoroughly blended. So 1 tablespoon. And half the water. There you go. There. Okay. So we only need 85 grams of water actually, so let me get rid of some. Touch more. I'm gonna take a look. Yeah, it's slightly over halfway, should be around 85. And I need to add most of the water, I believe. Most of the water, saving a couple tablespoons to add later if necessary. That's not a couple tablespoons. Okay, now we need to what? Switch to a rubber spatula or a spoon and stir the wet ingredients. Flour our workbench so that we can actually knead the dough onto the workbench. I need a little bit of flour right over here. Should be cooked enough. Put the flour right here for now. And we're gonna make sure that everything's well spread. We're gonna take our dough from our bowl into that. As you guys can see, it's actually not that much dough to work with. Really simple to do. It took me about what, 5 minutes to prepare this so far. And I'm gonna quickly knead it onto the workbench. Make sure you pick up as much flour as possible. If it's a little too wet, if it's a little too dry, you could have probably added a little bit more water while you were mixing. So now we're just gonna knead a couple of times. Always folding in the outside, pushing through the middle, and then turning the dough. So you always get a consistent knead. Work it for about 5 to 10 minutes. We're gonna time lapse this so you guys don't have to witness me work out on a dough. You guys even see because of the bowl? You guys can't even see because of the bowl. Right, there you go. All right, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a couple different parsleys or mint, maybe not necessarily mint, maybe mainly the parsley through this with potentially other flavor, specific spices that are also in my lamb kofte through the dough so that we can get that flavor pairing to both of these aspects of the dish. Put a little bit of this throughout the whole entire flatbread. Remember, this is gonna be once it rises, it's gonna give us about 3 flatbreads. So don't be too afraid of them being too close to each other, because remember, these are gonna spread out. So now we're gonna 1, then 2, and we're gonna knead again. Back through the middle, and same thing now, we're gonna spread it out again. And try to really knead whilst closing in everything so that parsley is no longer just sitting on top, but actually incorporated within your dough. Spreading it once nice, you'll start seeing nice coloring onto your thing. If you see random pieces of parsley sticking out, fold it back in, and then they'll be embedded like this throughout the whole entire thing. So now we're gonna re-flatten it out so we can add our thyme. Same process. You could have probably done it at the same time as the parsley, but in order for me to really get some kneading done at the same time, because I believe it's not even been 5 minutes, I do this process just so I can, make sure I hit all the time requirements for our kneading process. Okay, spread it out again. We're gonna go through with a little bit of our remaining parsley, right through, over and around. A couple pieces left, that off, and right there in the middle. Okay, we're gonna go through our thyme. Maybe not too much, because these are extremely strong tasting. Smell it, I guess. Like that, a little bit all over the place. Put this back into here. Same thing again. Fold it inwards first, push it down and around, and you repeat the process to make sure every single corner is well kneaded in. Now this is quite a good workout, honestly. If you guys have kids, friends, family, super fun recipe to do. Any form of baking, any form of kneaded and all that, it's always great to do with little kids, and I would recommend it. I used to love doing it with my parents, especially my mom when we used to bake as kids. It's sister and I would always like eating stuff like that. It was always, you know, it's nice memories. Even if you doing it alone, you know, it's always nice with music on and, you know, enjoy yourself, or try to at least. All right, our dough is actually really nice. Let me get closer up to the camera. So right here, as you guys can see, a little bit of parsley everywhere. Right here, and it's ready to sit and proof for around 30 seconds. What am I saying? 30 seconds? 10 minutes. Let me see specifically if I didn't forget anything. 5 to 10 minutes under a smooth time until it's smooth. Cover with a clean cloth and leave time. Alright, so the first step for our meatballs, I washed the bowl because I don't have another bowl, another mixing bowl here. So I used essentially the same bowl that I used for the flatbread. Cleaned it. Now we're ready to rock with the lamb mix. So what we're gonna do, the recipe I'm using is for 2 pounds, which is about 900 something grams. The piece of lamb that I have here, ground lamb, is exactly 454 grams. So again, we're gonna just half the recipe. Because you want similar texture with the protein that we're using, so we're just gonna use a grater, real simple, into a bowl. Just so, you could do it directly into the meat itself, but then again, you're gonna get a lot of liquids, and it's not exactly what you're looking for. What is this random hair doing here? I don't like having this. This does take a little longer than, let's say, dicing it, but if we wanna go as traditional as possible, following this recipe, we're gonna have to do it, and you're gonna probably end up crying, but it's worth it. I promise you it's worth it at the end. I'm crying! Oh, my eyes are burning. Oh, this is not fun. That's not fun, guys. Oh. Give me a second. I still have half an onion to go. More than half an onion. Alright guys, are we still recording? Yes, we are still recording. Okay, so we finished mincing the garlic. Garlic, what am I saying? The onion right inside here. Finished this, now we're gonna put that into the sink. And what I did to dry it, I used a paper towel. I simply just turn it over, put it to paper towel, dry it like that. Get out all the excess liquid that we don't necessarily need. And I believe we just throw this in here. Let me just double check. Half the recipe, so 4 garlic cloves, mashed option, that's about probably 2 garlic cloves would be how much mashed? 1 tablespoon? Yeah, that's about right. Then we're gonna put all our onion in here. Some minced onion. I've personally never minced onion before. I'm interested to see what type of flavor and I guess texture this brings. I guess if you didn't actually mince your onions, it would be too hard of a consistency in a meatball. So I guess it does make sense. Okay, and now that we have all 3, we need to combine with the breadcrumbs. Once again, halving the recipe. Breadcrumbs, a half cup, so we need a 1/4 cup. 1/4 cup. Our first cup right here. All right, we need to add 1½ teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Probably about 3, half a teaspoon, because we need half a teaspoon of cumin. Now for this, I'm actually gonna, grounded cumin, I'm actually gonna use the teaspoon because otherwise we're gonna be in a bit of trouble. Another thing, we need Aleppo peppers. I don't have Aleppo peppers. I couldn't find Aleppo peppers either in Walmart or Whole Foods. So what we're gonna do, I guess, a substitute. I was looking up different substitutes, and one I was looking up was cayenne and paprika. If mixed together, make it somewhat close, similar flavor. So if it's 1 teaspoon of this red pepper flake, so I can just do half and half. Well, a 1/4 and a 1/4 really. A tablespoon of dried thyme once again. I'm gonna do it by eye. Should be good. If you have all the spices in there, just give you guys a quick look. It literally looks amazing before we even mix it. We're gonna create our other second mixture, which is, okay, this is the recipe in full. A 1/4 cup of water, so we're gonna be using less than that, an eighth. And so that's about, I think, 1500 is a quarter cup, so around 30 milliliters of water. We're also gonna use 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So for that, where's my baking soda? Baking soda. I'm gonna, I don't have one that's open. I don't have one that's open. It's cornstarch, not the same thing. Okay. Apparently I didn't have one that's open, so we're gonna use a half teaspoon of baking soda and a half teaspoon of lemon juice. So our next step is to put our mixture, baking soda, lemon juice, and water, into our lamb mixture right over here. Knead everything by hand. And now the next step is an optional step. You can let it rest in the fridge 2 to 3 hours to really get a pronounced flavor, or you can just cook it instantly. Now for me, for the challenge I have this year, right, or at least for my series this time, is stuff that can be easily made straight away. That's why I used the cheap way of making a flatbread without really using yeast. So I'm not gonna necessarily wait 2 hours to 3 hours in the fridge. I might wait 30 minutes to an hour if I have. We'll see. I'll see how much time I have if it's not too late, and I want to try to keep it as realistic and as transparent with you guys so you guys know exactly what's going on. But yeah, so that's the goal. I'm not going to let it rest a full amount, but if you guys want to make this recipe, I would definitely recommend letting it rest a full amount. Either ways, I'll keep you guys updated once I'm done kneading this dough. Alright guys, I'm going to show you quickly the mixture. Right there. Got our nice lamb mixture and all that. Our next step is to let this rest, so I'm gonna put the cling film that we used for this right there. 2 hours if we can. Line it with a little bit of olive oil. Now what's this gonna do? It's gonna essentially stop our meatballs from sticking. Like, I think the mistake I made here was I didn't let them rest fully, so they didn't have time to fully become harder. It's a little wet, so it's a little harder to play with. Hopefully they can somewhat retain their shape. If not, I might add a little bit more breadcrumbs, because that should help them take their shape better. Alright, so we just finished rolling our meatballs into somewhat ball shapes. I honestly tried my best. They're not exactly perfect, but they are roughly the sizes that we should be aiming for, which is obviously larger than like a typical spaghetti and meatball. It's probably a good 2 to 3 bites, but you know, we want a big chunky meatball because with this amount of lamb, I think it's gonna be much nicer, especially with the flatbread, to have bigger pieces than having smaller ones that just like sort of fall off the flatbread, correct? Alright, next step we're gonna do, I believe we're gonna let them sit for a little bit. Hopefully they can retain the shape a little bit. I might reshape them with a spoon or two. I'll probably use the spoon or two to drop them and pick them up from my pan. In the meantime, we're gonna get a pan going with vegetable oil, so we have a neutral oil or any form of neutral oil. Heat it up to about medium heat, and once it starts sizzling, we can put our flatbreads into it. Nice golden texture. We'll flip it one more time. This is, remember, our test one. We're trying to see how long these will take. That was about roughly a minute. For our next two, these are potential candidates on which one's gonna be on the plate, at the top at least. I'm gonna put this one in, wait about 1 minute. Hopefully it expands into a somewhat nice shape and not just a random ball. You know, if it doesn't expand to the shape we want, we'll just call it authentic. So, you know, either way it works. Give it again once, give it about roughly another minute, a minute and a half on each side, and we'll probably get a nice rich golden brown color. A nice and gorgeous golden brown color. I hide the lighting a bit so it's not too bright. Nice golden brown color. Looks really nice. Obviously we'll actually get the proper lighting once we're at the table. This is again a camera on the side with a lamp next to it, so the lighting might be a little too bright or a little too much exposure. Just apologies about that. This is again very first time doing this filming angle, so this new camera angle and all that. So we're just trying our best, guys. We're trying our best. This in theory is our nicest shaped one, so hopefully it comes out the best. If it doesn't, we're gonna have to make do with whichever one we have. But in theory, they all look really crusty. They have a really nice developed crust, and they look like they're cooked throughout. So that's at least good. Remember, if these aren't cooked throughout, you can always cook them about 80 to 90% through first. And once you're done cooking the lamb, if you want another like hot flatbread, then you just boom, boom, about 15 to 20 seconds, and then it'll be just fine at the end. So like the problem I had with this one, for example, if I turn it over, the air bubble that developed was only on one side. So naturally this side was touching the surface of the pan, this side wasn't. So you guys can see the coloration is not great. However, on the one we're having right now, the air bubbles are almost developing on all the rims. So we're gonna have to like flip it over and push down slightly the rims, the middle, so that the middle is able to touch the pan as well, which is a little bit of an issue. Naturally, I think if we get more of these sorts of recipes and we have to develop other like flatbreads, I'll be able to, I guess, perfect a bit better my technique and all that. But so far, I think in terms of coloration and flavor, they're gonna be on point. Shaping is what we're gonna have to work on a little bit, but I'm sure over time it's gonna be better. I might turn up the heat a little bit just so we get a darker and richer coloration, especially on the one we're aiming to use for the plating. All right, guys, so our flatbreads have now finished, and we're gonna work on the lamb koftes themselves. And so we're gonna essentially replace the oil. We're gonna replace it to olive oil. Extra virgin is not technically recommended, but because, actually, you know what? We're not even gonna do that because we need to put it on high heat first. This is to get that really dark crust. You want that dark crust at first, just so you get that really rich color. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make sure the whole entire pan is oiled. I'm gonna put that up onto medium high, almost to high, even if you wanna go high, you can. What we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our lamb koftes, give that about 30 seconds to heat up. Once that heats up, well, because the pan, remember, is the same pan that we use for the flatbread. Remember, the flatbread was used in a neutral oil with not that much other like added flavor, so we can afford to cook these within the same pan. I like compiling flavor, and honestly, I think it's a good idea. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna grab our meatballs and we're gonna drop them in. Hopefully they retain their shape. Alright, now that we've flipped them over, we're gonna reduce the heat to let them cook throughout. And we're gonna cover it so that the oil doesn't splash too much. Give these about probably 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how high your heat is. And just make sure, like, cook a couple more and use them, and make sure you place them in almost like a circular motion. So I put this one first and I moved around, I guess, anti-clockwise. You can go clockwise if you want. So then you know which order to flip them in. I think that's also really important to get the most, I guess, consistent flavor and color, and I guess cooking time on each meatball. Alright guys, so our meatballs are just about to be ready. Now we're gonna start the plating. Now this is the fun part. I am no expert in plating at all. I'm just gonna try my best. Please do not judge me. I'm genuinely gonna try and make it as presentable as possible. And honestly, I've tried one of the test flatbreads, and they are so good. Alright, so what we're gonna do first, I'm gonna start off with our flatbread right here. You guys will get a mini montage, I guess, of the plate itself once it is completed. So we can get the nicest picture possible. Our yogurt tastes absolutely sublime. We're gonna go grab our meatballs. Making sure we pick up the nicest ones you guys can see. An absolutely rich color. These two I just put in last, they were the extra ones, so ignore them. But otherwise they look absolutely gorgeous. Let's go ahead and grab. This one's nice. One right there. One right there. And there you go. We're gonna put the rest of the separate right now for a second. We're gonna grab a touch of our parsley just in the middle, so it gives a different type of richness to our plate. Right there as well. Into the small gaps created by the meatballs putting together. You want to fill in those gaps so that it looks less void on the plate. Slight touches like that. Right there. Now, we're gonna grab our sauce. Yogurt, not our sauce, our dipping. Right there. I'm gonna go onto the side of the plate right here. Right above. And we're just gonna go around and turn the plate around. That, I'm gonna grab a little bit of mint. Actually, no, I took my own initiative. I cut up a little bit of shallots just so it gives a different vibrancy to the yogurt. A little bit of redness. Just put it a little bit everywhere. It's not as rich of a red as I would have liked. This shallot was, I think, rather young. So it's more of a nice pink. There you go. I'm gonna put them through a small montage for you guys, and we're gonna give it a try right after that. Alright guys, how's the focus looking? I think the focus is looking just fine. We're gonna grab a knife, a quick fork. We're gonna give this a try. I am super excited. I've never made this type of recipe before, so I am super excited to dig in. Let's give it a shot. Cut right through the meatballs. How cooked are they? Perfect. A nice brown color. I can show you. Get a little closer. Right here, a nice brown color is exactly what you should be aiming for. These took a little longer because I did make them a little bigger than I probably should have. They took around roughly, I think, 20 minutes to cook. So keep that in mind depending on the size of everything. I'm gonna cut a little bit of meatball, a little bit of the flatbread. I'm gonna say the flatbread is one of my favorite parts. Cooked throughout. Grab a little bit of our sauce onto our flatbread right here. And we're gonna bite into that meatball along with it. Oh. Let's give it a shot. Where do I even begin? What am I most impressed by? Of course, the yogurt's absolutely amazing. It's really fresh. It cuts absolutely right through that meat perfectly. It's super balanced with the lemon juice and the mint, and the parsley I'm assuming could be pretty interesting with dill as well. That's a much, I guess, a stronger taste potentially. But the meatballs itself are so flavorful. I am honestly super impressed with the different spices mixed within Turkish seasoning. I will probably definitely make use of this, whether it's throughout weekly meal preps and stuff like that, but I'll definitely use these spice combinations because they work really well. Honestly guys, I'm gonna absolutely devour this off camera. Hope you guys enjoyed the camera. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, this Turkish edition $15 challenge. I think honestly we killed it. If I'm gonna rate ourselves, you know what, I'm not gonna rate ourselves. We might find a different rating system later, whether we compare it to an actual delivery. That could be a different thing. Let me know the different type of potentially changes you might make to the series, whether it's do I get somebody else, obviously it's kind of hard with COVID, but maybe over camera to judge how it looks. Potentially do I order let's say Uber Eats version compared to the one I cook. That could be a different variation I would be more than willing to do. But yeah, just leave all your suggestions in the comments. I will definitely look into them because it's a new series. I want to keep this going for a really long time because honestly I get to learn a lot, and I hope that you guys learned a little bit of, a couple new tricks or a couple new maybe combinations of spices and stuff like that you didn't know. Anyways, do give this a try. If you guys do make it, let me know how it goes for you guys, if you guys enjoyed it in the comments below. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'll see you guys in the next one. Lots of love for everybody out there. Peace out.